Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video. Yeah? Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to talk about how I'm learning Korean because I recently have started again. Yeah, Seiji? Yeah, so I've recently started again. I think I'm about 2 weeks in, but I have been doing this on and off for a few years, so I do have already a base knowledge of the language. I do already know how to read it and write it. I just need to learn words and grammar, so that is what I'm going to be focusing on in this video. It's pretty easy to learn the alphabet if you haven't learned it before. Yeah, it doesn't take that long. It actually is surprisingly not that hard. You can probably learn it within a few hours. Let's get into what I've been doing and how I've been doing it. So the reason that I want to make this video now, even though it's only been 2 weeks, is because I want to track my progress, or, you know, I'll make another one in a month and see how far I've progressed, etc., so that you guys can do this along with me as well if you want to. Because I don't want to make a video where I already speak Korean and then you guys have to learn it a whole year to get to where I am, right? So if I start now, we can all do it together and no one's going to feel left behind. So if you guys have any tips for studying, because I know there's probably some of you who actually do it professionally or have a tutor, leave your tips down below, because I'm just doing this myself. I don't have any formal tutoring experience. Okay, so I have been taking a more formal approach to the learning. I'm studying the grammar and the words because I want to be able to read, write, and speak. I don't want to just be able to speak it. So I've been using the website/app Talk to Me in Korean, and that is totally free. It's also not sponsored. I just simply have been using them for the whole time I've been learning. And I really like them. I think it's quite easy to understand. On the app or website, whatever you choose, they have two kind of methods. They have a audio of the lesson and they also have a PDF of the lesson. So when studying grammar, I think it's really important to not get caught up on things that you don't understand. If you don't get it, just, you know, write it down, look at a few examples. If you still don't get it, move on and come back another time. Or you may not even have to come back, because something I have noticed is that things that I didn't understand in the past, I now just naturally understand it without even understanding exactly the explanation for it. I just know how to use it now, just automatically. And I think that just came from like listening to a lot of Korean sentences. And so because of that, I kind of just know automatically how to use the word or how to use the, I think particles is the most confusing part. So yeah, I kind of understand how to use them now, even though I didn't really get it when I was reading about them. But yeah, if you don't understand it, just move on, or don't simmer on that and don't think, oh God, I can't understand this, so I'm not going to understand anything else. Just move on. You'll get to an easier part and then you'll come back later and it may be a lot easier for you to understand. So I generally do a few lessons in one go, and then I come back in the next few days and revise everything I've learned, and I write out some tests for myself to practice. I just write sentences, or I conjugate the words. So for example, I would use one verb and then make it into present tense, past tense, future tense, make it into a sentence, blah blah blah. And then when Lee comes home after work, I get him to check what I've done, and I also read it to him so that my pronunciation can get a little bit better. He can give me tips on how to say everything correctly. So these are things I already pretty much understand, but I'm just finding ways to make them into simple sentences, because simple sentences is all I can do right now. And I basically I have a list of verbs. I pick a verb and then put them into the sentence. Easy. Now, bear with me if that's not correct, because obviously Lee's not here, I'm just doing it myself. But so after I do that, I'm going to say the sentence. So, 어떻게 씻었어요? How did you wash it? 어떻게 씻었어요? 어떻게 씻었어요? 어떻게 만들었어요? How did you make it? 어떻게 찾았어요? How did you find it? 얼마나 자주 공부해요? How often do you study? Cool. Seiji, you want the reading? The sentence is very accurate because it is so rainy today, so I am not leaving the house. 오늘 비가 왔어요. 그래서 집에 있었어요. 오늘 비가 왔어요. 그래서 집에 있었어요. So, learning words. So because I don't hear people conversing in Korean on a daily basis, we speak in English in our house and I don't know a lot of Korean people, but occasionally I do, but I always speak in English to them because I don't speak Korean, so they always speak English to me as well. So that's why I found it was important to learn words. Other people, maybe if you live in Korea, you might pick up on the words a lot easier without having to write them down and learn them. But again, I also do want to learn the spelling and all that kind of stuff. So I used to do like a giant list at the beginning of the week and just kind of go through it and go through it and go through it and go through it. And I found that it was a lot harder to learn the words because there was just such a bulk list of words that I wouldn't be able to get them into my brain. So what I have found works for me is to just stick to 10 words per day, at least currently. Like since the language isn't like something that comes very naturally to me, 10 words per day is fine for now. I think in the future I can probably do more than 10, but yeah, this works for me for now. And so that means I can do 70 words per week, which I feel like is pretty good. I asked you guys on Instagram how many words you guys can learn, and some of you said 100, some of you said 2. So really just do whatever is comfortable for you. Doesn't matter. Don't focus on how many words other people can do, because we're all over the place. It doesn't mean you're not smart if you can only do 2. Just do what you can do. So I'll show you my book where I write all my words and stuff. Okay, so let's go back all the way back to day 3. So what I have done here is I wrote the words in Korean and then with the English word next to it, and then I just wrote them out a bunch again next to it, repeat, 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 so that I can kind of write the word, look at the English word, say the English word. Basically just repeating it a bunch of times. Even though it's only day like, I don't know, maybe 13, it's a lot easier for me to pick up the words already, so I don't need to write them out as much. And always revise, 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 because you may forget them. You may totally have it down pat one day and then a week later you may not remember them at all. So revise, revise, revise. Take some time to just go back. You don't have to study something new every day. Go back over what you've already learned. Make sure you are repeating and revising. Key. Tuck, partner, pair, tongue, bread, come, sweat. Since this is just a list for revision, I usually just say these words. I occasionally write them because I want to remember the spelling. I'm really bad at spelling. So yeah, so say, bird, mo, parents, 휴지, tissue, visa. I don't remember that. Okay, visa, company. Pom, spring, tar, moon, smashed it. Except for company, that was always the struggle. Okay, so finally, I just want to give you guys a few pointers, things that are, I think, important that I didn't already mention. So number 1, set realistic expectations. This could take a few years, or probably even more than a few years, to really, really, really understand it and speak it well. So give yourself a lot of time. Just think, this time next year, I'm gonna have a pretty solid understanding if I start now. So start now. Number 2, don't be discouraged if you can't understand things that you've already learned. Like say for example, I say a sentence. I say it currently in the most simple form. So maybe if Lee says the same sentence, he would say it a bit more detailed, right? So I may not even understand what he has said, even though it's kind of a similar sentence. So don't be discouraged if you can't understand sentences that Korean people are actually using and you can only speak the most basic form, because you'll get there eventually. It doesn't mean that you're not doing well. Just you've only just started. You're basically speaking the most simple basic things, and they can speak it in many different ways. For example, I can say, I'm going to the shops. I can also say, I will go to the shops. I'm gonna go to the shops. Blah, blah, blah. There's many different ways to say the same sentence, so don't be discouraged if you can't understand a simple sentence that you think you've already learned. Number 3, don't be discouraged to start over. If you have totally forgot what you're up to, or you just need to do it all again because you don't remember anything, don't be discouraged. You'll pick it up a lot easier the next time around, so I definitely encourage you to keep going. Number 4, make sure you're speaking the words out loud, and maybe even try reading Korean sentences. For example, like, I don't have access to any Korean books, but I have Korean food in my cupboard, right? So I could try to read the back packaging, and even though I might not understand what I'm reading, at least it's helping my brain to kind of familiarize itself with the way Korean words are written and the sounds that they make, and try to be able to read a little bit faster because I'm so slow at reading right now. It's really hard for me to like speak a whole sentence. Number 5, just try to test yourself. If you don't have someone there to correct you, find tests online that you can do, because I think it's really important to make sure that you are putting into practice what you've learned and not just writing down or learning a few sentences. Put it into practice, try to make your own sentences and turn them into different forms of the same sentence, like the future version or the current version or the opposite version, like I don't want to, I do want to. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update because it has been maybe like a week since I filmed this video and I'm still studying every day. I've learned a lot, I feel. So okay, I just want to mention some things that I have like just recently learned. So something that I have been doing is reading webtoons. So if you just Google Naver webtoons, a bunch of Korean webtoons will come up. Just pick anything and I basically just read it. Even though I don't really understand it, I just read it just so that I can learn how to pronounce the words and familiarize myself with the sentence structure. A lot of people, what they do is they read it and then translate it and kind of learn that way. So you can definitely do that too, and I will be doing that as well. But I only started doing this recently, so at the moment I haven't had the opportunity to translate it, but I will be doing that because I actually think it's quite a good way to learn. If you have someone Korean who can help you read it, I think it'd be a good idea to maybe you read the sentence, then they read it, and then they explain it to you, and then you read it again, correcting your pronunciation and stuff. Alrighty, so I just picked a random one and now I'm just gonna start reading. I do this, it takes me a long time because I'm really slow at reading. 먹어서 녀석이 나침입니다. So if I had someone here with me, they would read it as well with the correct pronunciation and then explain to me the words. I could write down anything I'm not sure about. But when I don't have someone with me, I'm too lazy to translate everything. I just read it and hope that it will get in my brain somehow. I'm also trying to watch K-dramas where I can, purely for listening and maybe repeating what they're saying. And I do know that writing is not the best way to learn. Speaking is the best way to learn. However, I'm a beginner, so I kind of do need to write some stuff out. I do need to memorize some words because as much as I would love to just speak it all day, I just can't. I don't know enough words to make sentences yet, so it is important for me to write it down at the moment. But I think the further along you go, the more important it is to just speak it and listen to it rather than writing it. I was reading some articles from people who are polyglots, so they know a lot of languages, and they basically said just like immerse yourself, like just pack your brain full of it all day, every day. Just if you can, just try to only listen to it. Obviously, you might not be in a country where they speak that language like me, but if you're watching the TV shows and you're reading the books, and maybe if you have someone who can speak to you in Korean, although having a Korean husband isn't very helpful, they don't help you that much, so just try to pack your brain with as much as you can, but not in necessarily a study form because that could get very boring. So try to make it fun, whatever way that you find fun. Maybe songs will be more fun for you. Anyways, whatever you're doing to hear the language, is probably good. Can't hurt. So yeah, just wanted to add that in here. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'm sorry if this video came up a little bit late. I just broke my phone and I can't message Lee because he's away for the next 2 days. So hopefully he doesn't think I'm lost or something. But yeah, I broke my phone and that's why I can't message him and be like, hey, this video is ready, can you do the subtitles? So I'll probably put them up during the week, and sorry that this is late. But anyways, best of luck on your language learning journeys. Of course, this applies to all languages, but obviously we focus a lot on Korean stuff on this channel, so that's why I'm specifically talking about Korean. And yeah, next time I will try to speak some more. I'm not really super comfortable speaking it on camera yet, but you can see in our vlogs I will speak a little bit when I'm doing my learning. So see you next time.